Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's bright and early for me in the UK right now. My name is Anthony Allen, and in this video I'm going to walk you through how to enable FPS Boost on your Xbox Series X or your Xbox Series S console. Here on the Anthony Allen YouTube channel, I upload a variety of videos surrounding three niches: gaming, editing and online money. And here in this gaming video, I will be showing you how to enable FPS Boost on your Series S console. I will be walking you through and sharing my Xbox screen with you to show you how this works, but I also need to give you an explanation so that you understand what FPS Boost is and how it works. So quick fire, here's the explanation as to what FPS Boost is and how it works for your gaming. Imagine the frames of your media or game as a page on a flicker book. When you flick the entire flicker book, you get the ending image, and this is what you're seeing with your media or your games. You're seeing the end result of all of those pages being put together. Those pages of that flicker book or piece of media are known as frames. With less frames, you get less detail. Imagine a flicker book with 3 pages, you're not going to get much detail in the end result. Imagine a flicker book with 1,000 pages, that would be 1,000 frames. And of course, per second, 1,000 frames per second, you get the idea. More detail per second. So why is this important to gaming? Well, if you're moving a character on screen or completing an action and you're seeing it on screen, the amount of frames will give you more detail as to what you are completing. So it should feel a lot smoother with more frames as you have more detail in the movement. If you're moving your joystick left and your character moves to the left, with less frames, it will be robotic. With more frames, it will be smooth. And because with gaming, you're interacting with the piece of media and you're completing the action by entering a combination into your joypad or controller, that is what makes the game feel smooth with more frames. If you're moving your character to the left and they smoothly move to the left and not robotic body popping, then you're going to feel that in your gaming. You're going to feel like it's extremely smooth. FPS Boost is giving more frames to the game that previously did not have that many frames. So for example, if it's a previous generation game that's being enabled with FPS Boost, the previous generation game will feel a lot smoother. For example, Skyrim has FPS Boost, making the game feel completely different in terms of the movement of your character. Let's say you're in first person, meaning that you can see what your character is seeing and you're moving your head from left to right. This is going to feel more fluent and more human because you have more frames and more detail to the movement, as opposed to having less frames and turning your head more like a robot because you have more frames to the game that previously did not have those frames. I think I've given you some good metaphors and examples as to what FPS Boost is and how frames in your piece of media and gaming work. Now it's time for me to jump in and show you how to enable this feature by sharing my Xbox screen with you. If you've made it this far, I'd like to ask you for a favor. I'd like you to smash that thumbs up button and that subscribe button. It's very helpful to me here on my YouTube channel as I'm building a community of people like yourself so that I can help even further and of course give you even more value. Now with that said, let's jump in to my Xbox screen. I'm going to share how you can enable this feature, and I'll also be giving you other little tidbits that will help you with your gaming along the way. So don't forget to stay to the end, as I'll always have more relevant videos in the end screen. Let's jump in. So here we are on my Xbox Series S dashboard. I'm going to show you how to enable FPS Boost. As previously explained in this video, FPS Boost will boost the frames per second of a game on your game's console. From the game, I want you to move down to My Games and Apps. Select My Games and Apps. Here are your games and apps that you currently have installed. You can also access the full library of games that you have available by moving from Games in the far left, past Apps, past Groups, into Full Library. Here is where you'll be able to find all of the games that you have installed on your Xbox console that you can reinstall when you have the space available. In the case of an Xbox Series S, You can do this when you've deleted a game to make more space. I do this quite often. You can access all owned games, and these are all the games that you have available that you have purchased or previously downloaded that you have available to you. If you have an Xbox profile that you previously used, you may find previous generation games available that you can now play on your Xbox Series S, meaning that these games are backwards compatible and you can play them today. For example, Split Second was available on the Xbox 360, and because I'm using the same profile that I used on my Xbox 360, I will be able to download and play that game because I have previously purchased that game. And it's backwards compatible. Told you that I will have extra tidbits that you will learn about your gaming here in this tutorial video, but I digress. Press B to go back, and let's scroll back up to games. Let's enable that FPS boost on your previous generation games and Xbox Series S games that did not support 60 frames per second originally or a higher frames per second than 60 frames per second. My Time in Porsche was created with the Xbox One in mind, meaning that the original developers did not intend for the game to be played in 60 frames per second or a higher frame per second than 60. This is why FPS Boost is so amazing, because now you can play this game as if it was intended to be created for the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, now supporting a higher frames per second. To find this out, hover on the game like I am now, select the menu button on your Xbox controller, scroll down to manage games and add-ons, and select this. Here is where you can find extra information about the compatibility options of your game. My Time at Porsche may have FPS Boost available. Let's find out. You can see the game in Microsoft Store. You won't be needing to do this at the moment. You can uninstall, or this is how you would uninstall the game. And then we have compatibility options. Let's select compatibility options. Wow, amazing. Looks like this game supports FPS Boost. Let's read what it says here while we're hovering on the option. Increase frame rate. This may reduce the display resolution for the game. You'll need to quit and restart the game to apply this setting. But HDR is not supported by your TV. Now this is important information because your television may actually decide what the FPS boost will look like in terms of your gameplay. If HDR was supported, I would have an extra colour palette that can display the image on screen with HDR colours. And that's what this means by HDR is not supported by your TV. Because my television model does not support HDR colours, I will not have that HDR colour grading over the top of my gameplay. I also have a notice that states that this may reduce the display resolution for the game. If I select FPS Boost, I have now enabled FPS Boost for My Time in Porsche. Now there are other games, many more games that support FPS Boost. For example, these games I've downloaded from Xbox Game Pass. And if we go into Xbox Game Pass, at the current moment of time in 2021 while I'm recording this video, you can find games that support FPS Boost. If I scroll up to UFC 4, which is available on the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, you can see that the game was not originally intended to be created for the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S. You can tell because there is no XS logo in the bottom left corner of the game. But if I press Start or the menu button over the top of UFC 4, go into Manage Game and Add-ons, go into Compatibility Options, you will see that FPS Boost has been enabled for this game. If I were to try and turn this setting off, I have a notification that says to apply these settings, you need to quit the game and restart it. If you quit the game, you may lose unsaved progress. This means that I would have to quit UFC 4 and anything that I have not saved may be lost. I don't want to do this as I play UFC 4 and I'm currently enjoying the FPS boost, and there's no reason for me to not enable this. So I'm going to select cancel and leave FPS boost on. Let's go into Xbox Game Pass to show you where you can find games that support FPS boost. By scrolling through Xbox Game Pass, you have picks for you, recently added, because you've played Fortnite, because I play Fortnite, of course, play with friends, dungeon crawlers, and at this current moment in time you can see games with FPS boost. All of these games support an FPS boost, meaning that the game was not intended to be played at 60 frames per second or higher frames per second, but because Xbox is so amazing, you can boost these games via your Xbox Game Pass into a higher frames per second, giving you a smoother gaming experience for these games here. But there are many more games that support FPS boost. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button, it'd be very helpful, and also smash that subscribe button. We're building a community here on the Anthony Allen YouTube channel and I want you to be a part of it. Now with that said, you should see a video on screen or a playlist as well as my face. Click one of those so you can have even more content right here on the Anthony Allen YouTube channel. See you in the next one. Thank you for watching.